Greetings and welcome to this video on JavaScript interview questions and answers. My name is Michelle AI, and our focus today is on debugging in Chrome, a topic frequently discussed in front-end interviews. As we explore this subject, you will not only deepen your understanding of JavaScript, but also refine your skills for your next JavaScript interview. During the video, we'll pose a question for you to answer, followed by the correct response. We will give you 15 seconds to answer each question. Optionally, you can pause the video if you need more time. Although we will be focusing on interview responses, it's essential to be familiar with the technical aspect of each topic. You can find detailed technical responses under the Debugging in Chrome category on our website at hellojavascript.info. So, let's get started with the first question. What is Chrome Developer Tools, and what features does it offer for debugging JavaScript code? Here is the correct interview response. Developer Tools is a set of web developer tools integrated into Google Chrome, offering features like debugging JavaScript code, performance analysis, DOM manipulation, and network activity monitoring. Let's move on to the next question. What is the purpose of the console in Chrome Developer Tools? Here is the correct answer to this question. The console in Chrome Developer Tools is an interactive panel that enables developers to view messages, log outputs, run JavaScript code, and interact with the DOM. Let's move on to the next question. Explain what debugging is in JavaScript development. This is the correct way to answer this question. Debugging in JavaScript is the process of identifying, isolating, and fixing errors or issues in code to ensure the proper functionality and performance of web applications or scripts. Let's move on to the next question. How do you open Developer Tools in Chrome? Here is the correct answer to this question. To open Developer Tools in Chrome, you can press F12 or use the Ctrl+Shift-I shortcut on Windows and Linux, or you use the option +Command-I on Mac OS. Alternatively, you can right-click inside the browser window and select Inspect. Let's look at the next question. How can you access the console sidebar in the Chrome Developer Tools? This is the correct way to answer this question. You can use the toggle button on the top left side of the console to open and close the vertical tabs in the console sidebar. Now for the next question. What are the three panes accessible via the Chrome DevTools Source tab? This is the correct way to answer this question. The File Navigator, Code Editor, and the JavaScript Debugging pane, which includes breakpoints, call stack, and scope information. Let's move on to the next question. Where can you find the File Navigator pane and open it in the Chrome Developer Tools? The correct interview answer is: in Chrome Developer Tools, you will find the File Navigator pane in the Sources tab. We can open DevTools by clicking the Sources tab, and the File Navigator pane will appear on the left-hand side. Let's look at the next question. Where is the JavaScript debugging pane located in the Chrome Developer Tools? Here is the response to this interview question. You can find the JavaScript debugging pane on the right-hand side of the code editor under the Sources tab in the Chrome Dev Tools. Now for the next question. How can you toggle the Console tab window in the Chrome Developer Tools? Here is the correct answer to this question. You can press the Escape key on your keyboard to toggle the Console tab window while in any panel of Chrome Developer Tools. Let's move on to the next question. What are some examples of things you can do with the Developer Console? This is the correct way to answer this question. The Developer Console allows you to execute JavaScript code, modify web page elements, inspect the properties and styles of elements, log debugging information, analyze network activity, and profile the performance of web applications. Let's look at the next question. What is a breakpoint in JavaScript debugging? This is the correct way to answer this question. A breakpoint in JavaScript debugging is a point in the code where execution stops, allowing the developer to inspect the state of the program and its variables. Now for the next question. How do you explicitly implement the debugger in most code editors? This is the correct way to answer this question. To explicitly implement a debugger in most code editors, set breakpoints, launch the debugger, step through code, inspect variables, evaluate expressions, and interact with the call stack. This process varies depending on the specific editor used. Let's move on to the next question. How do you reload the source page after setting your breakpoints in the Chrome Developer Console? Here is the response to this interview question. To reload the source page after setting breakpoints in the Chrome Developer Console, you can press the F5 key, click the circular reload button in the top left corner, use the Command plus R shortcut, or right-click and select Reload. Let's look at the next question. What does the watcher do in the Chrome Development Tools? Here is the correct answer to this question. In Chrome Developer Tools, the Watcher allows developers to observe and evaluate expressions in real time during debugging, displaying current values and updating them as code execution progresses. Now, for the next question. How do you make a minified file readable in Chrome Development Tools? This is the correct way to answer this question. To make a minified file readable in Chrome Developer Tools, you can open the file in the Sources tab and click the pretty print curly brace icon at the bottom. Let's move on to the next question. What is the purpose of the call stack panel in Chrome Developer Tools? Here is the correct answer to this question. The call stack panel in Chrome Developer Tools displays the sequence of function calls leading to the current execution point, allowing you to navigate and debug through the functions involved in the code execution. Let's look at the next question. In web development, why do developers use the source panel? This is the correct way to answer this question. Developers use the source panel in web development for debugging JavaScript, setting breakpoints, stepping through code execution, viewing and modifying CSS, examining the DOM, and interacting with source files in a structured manner. Let's look at the next question. How do you set a breakpoint in Chrome Developer Tools? Here is the response to this interview question. To set a breakpoint in Chrome Developer Tools, open DevTools, navigate to the Sources panel, locate the desired JavaScript file, click the line number where you want the breakpoint, and the breakpoint will be added. Let's move on to the next question. What is the process for setting a conditional breakpoint in Chrome Developer Tools? Here is the correct answer to this question. In Chrome Developer Tools, open the Sources panel, find the desired JavaScript file, right-click the line number where you want the breakpoint, select Add Conditional Breakpoint, and enter your conditional expression. Now, for the next question. What are some common use cases for breakpoints in JavaScript development? This is the correct way to answer this question. Common use cases for breakpoints in JavaScript development include debugging, investigating variable values, understanding code execution flow, identifying logical errors, and examining event listeners or asynchronous operations. Let's move on to the next question. What is the difference between the Watch and Scope panels in Chrome Developer Tools, and how can you use them to debug JavaScript code? Here is the response to this interview question. The Watch panel in Chrome Developer Tools allows developers to manually track the value of specific variables or expressions, while the Scope panel displays the current scope chain and variable values. Both panels can be used to debug JavaScript code by monitoring and changing variable values during runtime. Let's move on to the next question. How can you use the Network panel in Chrome Developer Tools to debug JavaScript code that relies on server-side APIs? Here is the response to this interview question. The Network panel in Chrome Developer Tools can be used to monitor and inspect the HTTP requests and responses sent between a web application and its server-side APIs, allowing developers to debug issues related to network connectivity, request and response headers, and data payloads, among other things. Let's move on to the next question. What is the purpose of the Timeline panel in Chrome Developer Tools, and how can you use it to debug JavaScript code? Here is the response to this interview question. The Timeline panel in Chrome Developer Tools provides a graphical representation of the performance of a web application, including information about JavaScript execution, rendering, and network activity. It can be used to debug performance issues, such as slow-loading pages, by identifying areas of the code that are causing performance bottlenecks. Let's move on to the next question. How can you use the Memory panel in Chrome Developer Tools to debug memory leaks in JavaScript code? Here is the response to this interview question. The Memory panel in Chrome Developer Tools can be used to track the memory usage of a web application and identify potential memory leaks in JavaScript code. Developers can take snapshots and compare them to see which objects and functions are consuming excessive memory and causing leaks. Let's move on to the next question. What are some common JavaScript errors that you may encounter while debugging in Chrome Developer Tools, and how can you resolve them? Here is the response to this interview question. Some common JavaScript errors that developers may encounter while debugging in Chrome Developer Tools include undefined variables, null values, syntax errors, and type errors. To resolve them, developers can check their code for correct syntax, use the console to log and investigate the error messages, and use try-catch blocks to handle exceptions. Let's move on to the next question. What is the difference between a watch and a breakpoint in Chrome Developer Tools? Here is the correct answer to this question. A watch in Chrome Developer Tools allows you to track changes in variables and expressions during code execution, while a breakpoint stops execution at a specific line of code. Now, for the final question. How do you check the value of a variable in Chrome Developer Tools? This is the correct way to answer this question. You can check the value of a variable in Chrome Developer Tools by typing its name in the console or adding it to the watch list. We've now come to the end of this video on debugging in Chrome. We hope that you found it to be informative and valuable. Be sure to join us for the next video, where we'll take a closer look at coding styles. Thank you for watching.